So hello everyone, today we're going to present our final exam of English, the speaking part. And my name is Juan Sebastián Perez.
And my name is Monchis.
And we're going to discuss the following questions. The first question will be, what scientific study did you conduct as part of the fear factor unit?
The second one is, what did it entail?
The third one will be, who were the subjects of your study?
The third one was, what did you learn from your study?
And the last question will be, how can you relate your study to our school's virtues and the real world? So we're going to start discussing the first question. So Simon, what scientific study did you conduct as part of the fear factor unit?
So principally, we focus the study on insects, on the fear that people have on insects, that is also known as entomophobia. And this is a very common phobia, though one of the most common ones among people of all ages, including children and grown-ups and even though old people.
Okay.
And this phobia literally can manifest like in a range of different ways in which you can experimental people or people that possess this phobia can experiment mild discomfort and avoidance to extreme anxiety and panic attacks. So that was principally our study to measure the fear that people has like on common insects that you could find like on the garden or on TV or on documentals even.
So for me, the scientific study we made, so we first make a survey and then we make a final presentation to explain the results we got in the survey. Okay, so my group and I didn't focus just in one fear specifically. We focus in the most common fears that the students of our age has. Like for example, the fear of public speaking, the fears of height, and other fears we analyzed. But the main purpose was that survey. In the survey, we asked 10 questions. Those questions analyzing a lot of fears, not only one. And then with those results, we analyzed that many students have the many fears in common. And with having that in mind, we create a final presentation to review all the questions we did in the survey and of course the answer of each student. So that was the scientific study we made for our project.
Okay. The second question is, what did it entail?
So okay,
basically, for our experiment, firstly we tried to search a fear that was among the common ones firstly, and then we start investigating about what that fear was generally common among people in almost all ages. Then we made a document and some surveys to students here at Register, and with those surveys we could analyze that people are very feared by insects in general.
Okay.
There are some people that are not tend to fear those insects, but the general students, they fear a lot of insects. We also write in those surveys many options such as mouse, tarantulas, wasps and all that, and most people tend to answer that they fear those insects more than one.
Okay.
And well, at the final, we conduct a study that was out of a little box, and people get a blinder their eyes, cover their eyes, and with the hand they inserted in that box, and that box was full of insects.
Yeah.
So we tend to measure the reaction of people when they place their hand inside, and they usually scream
Without seeing.
Yeah.
Okay.
People usually tend to scream to the sensation of the texture of each insect, and that if some insects move, then they start to scream. That was the most common reaction.
Yes, of course, because if you are blind, you don't see anything, and you start putting your hand into the box, and the first thing you will feel, you will be like a stranger, you will scream, or you have any type of reaction. So it was
the most common action. Also, people tend to take their hand very quickly, and there were some students, like maybe 4 students, that they lived like their hand without any reaction.
Yeah.
So they probably like the insects. They told us that they do like insects.
So I think, and I will tell you that it was a really good experiment, like doing those type of thing, because there you can see the reaction of the students,
Yeah.
and you can see that not all the students have the same reaction. There are a lot of different reactions, so it was a very good experiment.
Some tend to, like, as I told you, scream, run away,
Or take the hand like
take
very
the hand
quickly as
immediately.
they can.
They just
Yeah.
touch it a bit and they take it
Okay.
right in the moment.
So what did it entail in my project? So first, my group and I like make like a common paper, and we start like writing ideas of the project and writing what are the most common fears, and we analyze and we research in Google and Safari we students have a lot of fears. Like for example, the fear of failure, the fear of the heights, the fear of small places, the fear of insects. That is the fear that you make. So we take all those public speaking. Sorry, was also a fear we analyzed. So we take all those fears and we put it on a survey. And as I tell, the survey was specific questions, like for example, what is the fear that you consider is the fear that is the most like significant, sorry, for you. So many students say the most one was, I remember, the fear of public speaking. Also, of course, other students said the fear of insects, the fear of heights, the fear of small places. But the one that has like more votes was the fear of public speaking. And then we make another question in the survey, and the other question was, how can you like manage that fear? What do you make for like solve that fear? And we made like for example therapy. You calm down, you breathe. That was some of the options of the survey. So many students say that they breathe a lot and they try to stay calm. And other students also answered that when the fear is too big, they need to go to a therapist or talk to other person and make some exercise like to make them leave that fear. So we create that survey and we send that survey to the people of our age, to all the students of high school.
Okay.
And then we have analyses of those questions, like huge, because each student is different.
Yeah.
Of course, someone has same things in common, but the main point is that all the students have any type of fear and different ways to treat that fear, no?
Okay, yeah.
So then of that survey, we create a presentation with all the procedures and the answers of that survey, and we present it. That is.
Okay. That's kind of interesting, because you don't focus like on a fear specifically, but you
Like try
like
to
different
enter,
ones.
yeah, enter in all the fears.
In general. Okay.
So the next question will be, who were the subjects of your study?
Well, the subjects of my study principally were students of all ages, principally teenagers, small kids, the one of middle school also, we interviewed them, and that was principally like our main focus point with students.
Okay.
And children in general, because
Alright.
we found that the children tend to react more and fear more about the insects.
Oh, okay.
That's like a fear they have grown up with since always, or they like relate those fears with a bad experience they have had in their life, or some kind of experience they would like to avoid.
Okay.
But that was like our main focus point, was like teenagers and students in general.
Okay.
And they will, like,
So-
all of them tend to fear that.
Okay. So in our case, my group and I, who were the subjects of our study, was mainly all the students of high school.
Okay.
We just send that survey to all the students of high school, and we take the data and the analysis from the surveys of those kids, no one else. So then we pass to the other question. So what did you learn from your study?
You know, I did learn that this fear of insects are principally caused in students and grown-ups, like all people in general.
Mhm.
But mainly the students are or children are focused in this fear because they have had a bad experience with insects. You know, they bite them or they just
Yeah.
don't like it, or
Yeah, I
they have like
understand.
kind of traumas with that. Or even though they have seen a film or a documentary, well, it shows like the
Maybe something
insects.
disgusting
Yeah,
and they don't like
and
it.
some insects for them are like disgusting.
Mhm.
Since I told you that there were some students that they do like insects, but that is because they have had like insects since they were real small as pets, you know.
Yeah.
So they found like the interesting point of having insects. But in general, they do not like insects. They fear them
Okay.
since they could be venomous, or they just can't bite too hard, or they are extremely dangerous for humans.
Okay. So for answer that question, in my case, what did I learn? I learned that many students from our age and partners we have the same fear, that is the fear of public speaking and the fear of failure. So I did learn that, and also I learned that many students have a different way to solve this problem of public speaking, no? But it was very interesting because many students of our age has this problem of public speaking, and there is a big problem because, as you know, sometimes we need to have that ability of speaking in public because we need to make presentations
Yeah.
or present any type of work we have. So it's very interesting, and also it's very interesting how each student like have their own way to solve this problem. Like for example, breathing, staying calm, or talking to other person, or making after the presentation or whatever you need to make in front of a lot of public, making exercise and stay
Yeah.
calm. So it was interesting. So the final question we're going to discuss. So how can you relate your study to our school virtues and the real world?
You know, I think according to my study specifically, people tend to scream and like not thinking and acting like too scared and nervous of that. I think one of the school virtues that is solving issues. I think it can relate like with that, you know, because you need to like solve that issue in the way you need to like to stay calm.
Okay.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
there are some people that fear, but they stay like very calm in that situation. And I think, well, with the real world is the same. You need to stay calm in every situation. You know, doesn't matter if you're like passing through a rough time or you're having like a presentation in front of many people, or just presenting an exam,
Yeah.
doing a work with others. You need to know how like to solve issues. Like you need to learn the correct way to solve those issues depending on the situation.
And that is what the real world is about, to
Yeah.
solve any
Solve
problem
any
you
issue.
have.
Yeah.
If you are a person that know how to solve any problem, you will be success in
Yeah,
life.
totally.
So because life is like during the life we're going to find a lot of problems.
Yeah, many
And
of
the
them.
main point is to know to stay calm and to know how you're going to solve
Yeah.
that problem. So yeah, very interesting.
Yeah.
So in my case, my study like relate to the school virtues and the real world, because I can say that it is related to the real world because many students have the fear of failure.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and it is related also to the public speaking. That is also a fear, the most common fear between all the students. So because if you have like a fear of public speaking, you will be lead to failure.
Yeah.
Because in the future you have work and some jobs that are trying to make that will be to make a presentation or to explain anything of the work or job to a bunch of people.
Yeah.
So if you don't know how to speak in public, you're going to lead to failure,
Yeah,
and you can lose
that's
your
true.
job or something. You can lose your job or don't do the work that is assigned to you. So that is how I relate the real world, and also because, as you said, the most important thing is to stay calm and to try to solve the problem in that moment.
Try to stay like focused and calm in that
Yes,
situation.
because that is the real world.
Yeah.
In the future, we're gonna have a bunch of problems, and the real important thing is how you can solve that problem. So that's how I can relate to the real world.
That's very
Our
interesting and
project.
important. You know, having in mind like the way you need to solve any situation in a calm way.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. That was the questions we discussed and our speaking English test.
Thanks.